What's up, you guys? We're here. We're late. I'm late. It's me. It's my fault. Some of us have side hustles, and some of those side hustles include small children who don't always listen when I say it's time for me to go home. But whatever. I'm here. We made it.
Tweeting about hockey all day.
Try having one of your own.
Oh, no, thank you. Hi, welcome back to Timeout with uSTADIUM. I am Brianna, your host. Nick and Frankie are here with me. We are finally doing our post-draft show where we can kind of wrap up this entire draft talk, like I say every week, that I feel like we've been talking about for 6 months. We've got a pretty loaded show here for you guys. So we are going to start. Do you guys want to start winners and losers team-wise or pick-wise first? I think going
Just
team would go
definitely.
one into the other. All right, so let's start with teams then. Who are your winners?
By the way,
and
we
losers?
we had a sick draft event. By the way, I just want to give a shout outs to Nick and Bree and Scott and the whole gang at Play Like a Jet. You guys killed that virtual draft. That was awesome. If you haven't checked it out, go to the uSTADIUM YouTube and check that out. I called in. I had a few too many that evening, but hey. What else is new? But yeah, no, that was a great performance all around by everybody but me. So I just want to give everyone a shout out. That was
your
part
performance was pretty good.
No, it's Nick. I'm always good, man. I'm always on, no matter even when
the
I'm
lights
off,
are
I'm
on. You're in.
Yeah, I'm good. I got a new
Even
lamp right
when
here,
I'm
by the
off,
way. Look at this
on.
thing. Oh, I didn't turn it on yet. There we go. You have to turn it on.
I'm kind of sad
look at
that
my
the draft
lights.
is over.
Bam! Showtime.
There you right. There you go.
Yeah.
Is that a ring light?
I don't know what this is. This is like a floor light that they gave me at WeWork. And I kept pronouncing the kid's name wrong. His name is Ariel. I kept calling him Adrian today, and he wasn't responding to me. But right, Jesus. All right.
Are we gonna talk about losers and winners? And I'm kind of sad that the draft is over. I'm not gonna lie, because now it's the dead time of the year. I know. Well, you're not a big draft gal, but I mean, this is all we have here, and now for the next few months, it's just talking about the boring part for us. The Jets season,
I'm getting you guys into hockey this playoff season. I'm swearing
it's gonna take a miracle.
I'm swearing to it. It's gonna be so fun the way the seeding and the playoff picture is. But let's talk about winners and losers of this draft, because I certainly have some things to say. I'll go last though. So Nick, we'll go to you because you were kind of our draft expert this whole draft season. So we'll start with you.
Cool.
Who won in your eyes? Who lost?
I'm going to start with my winner. We'll go on a positive note. I loved what the Panthers did. I know J.C. Horn was a little bit earlier. Obviously, people were a little surprised. That was kind of like the first bit of a shocker, but the player is awesome. Cornerback one, I said it. I was told back in October, November, J.C. Horn is quarterback one on almost every team's board. Happened to be, he did go quarterback one at I think they picked 8 or whatever, 7 or 8. And then Surtain went right after him. But I love J.C. Horn getting Terrace Marshall in the second round. Then you get your offensive tackle in Brady Christensen from BYU in the third. Tommy Tremble, my boy, who we talked about with Connor Rodgers on the show. Chuba Hubbard, Davion Nixon. I got the whole draft here. Then Deontay Brown. These are honestly my 2 favorite picks. Well, one wasn't a pick at all, but Deontay Brown, who's built like Blastoise, the Pokemon. I saw that Twitter. I was cracking up at that. It's hilarious. I don't know if you guys have seen that tweet. Actually. It's so funny, but he's massive. But, the reason why he fell was obviously, a lot of offenses are moving faster pace offenses. Offensive line, they want them in shape. They want them to be able to move a little bit. But, he's one of those old school guards. If this was like 1996, Deontay Brown would have been picked in the top 15 probably. And then an undrafted offensive lineman, David Moore, another guy who I had as like a 4th or 5th round prospect, fell all the way to the undrafted period. But I loved what the Panthers did as a whole. Obviously, Sam Darnold is a part of this class too. You can kind of tie him in, and also next year's class, because they'll give up the 2 next year, which will be the highest pick. But they supported him with offensive line, obviously in Christensen and Deontay Brown and David Moore. Moore probably won't start. They'll all try and compete for a few interior positions. And then you get Terrace Marshall, who, Frank, you love, obviously, 2nd round pick.
Awesome pick.
And J.C. Horn. I mean, you replaced James Bradbury, who went to the Giants 2 years ago. This guy is a cornerstone on your defense. They have one at every level now. Shaq Thompson, Brian Burns, who's a safety? Jeremy Chin last year, who they drafted, and now obviously J.C. Horn at corner. They're building something there, and that's what Matt Rule is. It's going to take him a little while. That's why he got that long contract, but he's building a program, and he's doing it the right way. And I thought his second draft was really, really strong. So Carolina is one of my winners, and obviously the Raiders are my losers. It happens almost every year now. Since we were kids, honestly, with Al Davis just taking the fastest track receiver or fastest corner who can play, and they did it again. Alex Leatherwood. I was going through their past drafts a few days ago, and their last 4 first-round picks were all considered reaches. I mean, they're okay players. I'm not huge on Henry Ruggs. He was a first receiver drafted last year, which I thought was a mistake, over CeeDee Lamb, Jerry Jeudy, Justin Jefferson. They took there was another really big reach. It slips my mind, but Cleveland Ferrell, 4th overall a few years ago, big reach. Last year there was another corner who I think they took, or a safety. Colton Miller a few years ago, he turned into a nice player, but it just seems like every year Damon Arnett, the corner. I literally had him as a 3rd-round pick, and he went 19th overall, I believe, to the Raiders last year. They do it again with Alex Leatherwood this year, and reports were, and I think even the Raiders admitted it, that they could have traded back, but they wanted Leatherwood so bad. And we talked about Leatherwood on this show a few times. He is definitely better, in my opinion, suited to play inside. The more space you give him, the less, technical he gets, the less valuable he gets to your offensive line. So I don't know if they're going to play him at tackle or if they're going to kick him inside, but Leatherwood to me was a late 2nd-round pick. But, quality player, don't get me wrong, but where they picked him, I just wasn't a fan. And then
they said the Ravens would have picked him. They said the Ravens would have picked Leatherwood if he dropped far enough. Yeah, I heard he wouldn't have.
About that. Yeah, I mean, maybe
the 1st round.
Yeah, I mean, they had a chance to trade back. They could have done that and probably still gotten Leatherwood. I think Morrig, the safety, it's funny because if you switch them, if you put Morrig where they took Leatherwood and Leatherwood where they took Morrig, the draft, they definitely wouldn't have been my losers, but going based off of value. And then they go and they draft, I think, 3 safeties. Now, all of them obviously aren't going to play safety. They'll play different defensive backs, maybe even more of like a weak side linebacker in their defense. Who knows where they'll move these guys, but drafting 3 safeties, Divine Diablo, Gillespie, like, to me, it was just, there's nothing where you really hang your hat on in this draft to me. And that's, you want to come away with 2 guys that you're at least really excited about. And obviously theirs is Leatherwood and Morrig, but to me, the Leatherwood pick, just the value is really bad for where they picked him. So I just didn't love, again, what the Raiders did. There were a few teams I didn't like what they did, but the Raiders stuck out to me just because it seems like every year they keep reaching, and it's John Gruden and Mayock who does this, who did this for a living on TV, would just break down value of draft picks, and he just keeps getting it consistently wrong. So another bad, it wasn't a god-awful draft, I don't think, but it just it compounds year after year with the Raiders, and they did it again. So I just don't like what they did.
Damn, Nick, you had to get that off your chest, didn't you?
I love it. Hey,
Nick hates Mayock. No, Nick, you actually hate Gruden. Anytime Gruden's brought up, you always just go like a bash-a-thon on the guy.
I think he's terrible. Terrible head coach. And I think Mayock is better suited on. I think they're both better suited on TV than they are in their current jobs. They both were really good at their previous jobs.
I think they both be better suited in other areas, not together on the same team. Like if Mayock was with like an established current day head coach, and then Gruden was with like an established old school GM, I think they would both be in better situations. And they're trying to bring like this new school kind of thing going. It just doesn't work. But yeah, I'll get into I'm going to be quick. My loser, I'm going to start because, losers go first. Winners, we're patient. We wait things out. So my loser is quite simple. And this guy needs to stop picking players. He needs to stop getting involved with the team. He, at an interview, at a press conference, apparently conducted an interview with their first round pick, and the head coach was not involved. Splash, do we have this clip here? Does everybody here know who I'm talking about?
I know who we're talking about.
The old man who likes to hang out in bathrooms post game and get the cheerleaders in there.
Jerry.
The weirdo old
Jerry.
man. It's time to go to the nursing home, buddy. It's over. Your run is done. You made a lot of mistakes. You did a lot of good things too, but the mistakes are just piling on one after the other. Jerry freaking Jones and the Cowboys had the worst draft out of any team. Now, you can go to other teams that had like a few picks, so I'm not going to go to teams that had like 3 picks or something. That didn't have like the Texans, I don't think had a pick till the 3rd round. I'm not going to go to teams like that. But the Cowboys, they had an awful draft. All right, Micah Parsons. Don't dislike the player necessarily. However, when you have 2 linebackers already, Jalen Smith and Van Der Esch, and you're getting Micah Parsons, who has character concerns, and your locker room looks kind of like Rikers Island looks at some point throughout the year, and you get Micah Parsons over Rashawn Slater, over Elijah Vera Tucker, over value picks, even Jalen Phillips, I would have rather preferred. I'm not even kidding. I'm not a big Micah Parsons fan because of his character concerns, number 1. 2, the 2nd round pick is the worst pick out of them all. Kelvin Joseph, this guy, go put on interviews. His heads are in the cloud. Another guy got kicked out of school at LSU. This guy's got character issues off the wazoo. He's got a YouTube called Boss Man. Boss Man Fat, because when he was born, he was 10 pounds. So he called himself, people call him Boss Man Fat. He's more concerned about music than he is playing football. You know what happened with our guy, Nick, when that's a situation, when you're more concerned about music than football, Le'Veon Bell, things don't work out too hot. So he's got red flags all over him. And you're getting him before Asante Samuel Jr. What are the Cowboys thinking? I mean, they're even Owusu Kamara I would have taken over Kelvin Joseph. Kelvin Joseph has red flags all over the place. Then, not to get more into it, but in the 3rd round, you're getting guys like Chauncey Golston over Trey Sermon, over Amari Rodgers, over Wyatt Davis, who I'm really a big fan of. I mean, there's just value guys that you can pick up, and the Cowboys are taking reaches with just talent and talent players. So the talent game is over. It doesn't work, Dallas. Your team is filled with talent, no character. It doesn't lead to wins. When you guys won Super Bowls with guys like Michael Irvin and Emmitt Smith and Troy Aikman, not the most talented players at their position, but really great locker room guys that were leaders and high quality character athletes. That is what wins you Super Bowls. So they're just doing the exact opposite of what they traditionally do. So they're my big losers. They're going to probably have a bad year or two, and it's done. All those contracts that are backloaded are going to kick in. Zeke's going to be done. They're in serious trouble in Dallas. This is doomsday scenario. The Giants are stacking up. The Eagles are. The Redskins, or the Washington football team, they're locked and loaded. So Dallas is in for a rough ride the next couple years. Now my winner of the draft, and Bree, when I say winner of the draft, who do you think I'm going to say? When you just think of winner of the 2021 NFL draft, what's the first thing that pops up? Just the winner of the draft.
Not the Jets.
Not the Jets.
New York freaking football Jets, baby. We nailed it. We just nailed it. I don't even need to get into it.
I'll go as far as the first 3 rounds, yes. But just for the sake
don't hate on Michael Carter.
Just for the sake of argument, I'm just going to say no.
Yeah, the first 3 rounds count the most, let's be honest.
And Michael Carter too, man. Don't hate on him.
Yeah, Michael Carter's nice. We need a 3rd round back.
His tweet with the Yankee hat and the Timbs absolutely sent me. I thought that was the funniest thing. All right, Frank, go ahead. Sorry.
No, it's fine. I want to see it. I actually didn't even see that.
Oh, he posted a picture of Timbs, like his girl got him, I think.
Yeah, like a pair of black Timbs and a Yankee hat, like a Yankee flat brim.
That's how we do it in New York. Get those chopped cheeses going, and you're rocking. But no, I just love what the Jets did. You get Zach Wilson, obviously, with the 2nd pick, and then you trade up. You get Elijah Vera Tucker, who was in most situations people's number 1 guard coming out. So you have to protect Zach as much as possible. You have Becton, you have Vera Tucker, and Zach Wilson's protected, so he's not gonna be worried as much because you're protected as a quarterback. You get him Elijah Moore, who I really like, and you're giving him the support that he needs. So they went heavy offense. I think Nick? The first 4 picks were offense, and they just went straight defense. The rest of the draft to try to fix some needs on that front. But they said, we're going to come in here and we're going to build around Zach Wilson. They did that, and then they just ended the draft off or the second half with just straight defense, which is what Saleh wants. So I don't know how much better Joe Douglas could have done. Yeah, maybe Elijah Vera Tucker, he didn't have to necessarily trade up, and there's some, people saying that it wasn't the best value there, but I just think the New York freaking Jets, baby, like we're back. And Joe Douglas, Joey D, baby. Any Joe D in New York is the man, by the way. If you're Joe D in New York, Joe DiMaggio, there was a Joe D in our town, Nick. He used to sell that good weed. I'm not going to.
There's a Joe D on every street corner in New York. You kidding me?
Yeah, Joe D. Joe's Deli. I think his last name is D. He's got the best bacon, egg, and cheese. Yeah. I mean, Joe D is just the way to do it in New York. So shout out to Joe D. The Jets are just eating right now.
Also, to reply to that comment about how cute is Zach Wilson, he looks like a kid I would bully at a frat party because he's like the size of my pinky, and he looks like he would tell me that his daddy has a lot of money. So not cute, not my type. The headband, not my thing. Anyway, all right. So
you'd have this fat head if you got drafted by the Pats. Let's be honest.
Not a shot. Not a shot in hell.
Bree, if you saw Zach Wilson now, though, and he was single, let's say, he broke up with his girl, you wouldn't even go up to him and he's like bowling or something.
He's blonde. No,
not
absolutely not.
All right.
Absolutely
That's fair. I like how you stick to your guns.
We have that in common.
Yeah. Not my thing. Okay. Anyway, back to the topic at hand, my winners and losers. Obviously, I want to say the Patriots, but because I'm gonna go the least biased route here. I really like what the Browns did. And I only say that because I like what they did in free agency. And I think everything they did in the draft kind of complements the moves that they made in free agency. Now, I'm not going to get into that because I feel like that's kind of self-explanatory and you don't need me to run down their additions in free agency plus the draft picks and why they mesh. They do. My loser, I'm going to call an audible here for the sake of just not piling on this team because it's really whatever. I don't like them, but whatever. The loser in my eyes is the Saints. Are they really?
They were one of mine too.
Like sticking to their guns in terms of rolling with Jameis and Taysom at the quarterback position? Is that really what they're doing? And they have Ian Book if all else fails.
That was awful. My God, what an awful pick that was.
Like that
in the fourth round?
In the fourth round, right? Exactly.
And Peyton Turner, they took in the first round again. Sorry, because I wanted to pick the Saints. They were like hand in hand with the Raiders.
Let me run down their picks. So they took Turner first round at 28, and they supposedly wanted to move up. Not even for a quarterback, Sean Payton said, which I don't believe. I think they got turned down to whatever spot they wanted to move up to because they weren't offering enough to get a quarterback. And now he's just kind of like covering his ass. Because
who do you think they wanted up there? Any speculation there?
Not really speculation, just kind of like guessing, I guess. I don't know. I think they probably would have taken Mac, but
interesting.
Yeah, I don't think the Patriots,
because he fell.
Only because he fell, and I don't think the Patriots at that point were willing to move out of 15. I think that they knew that they could get him at 15, and they were just going to stay put. They weren't going to move, regardless of it was up or down. Ian Book, I just hate that. I hate it. I hate the pick. I really do. I really didn't even like him in college.
Yeah, weird pick.
And I like Notre Dame. Like, I don't really have a college team, but I'll sit down and actually watch a Notre Dame football game. And sometimes just watching this kid, I'm like, dude. Like it's like you're there and you see what you're doing, but your brain and your body just like don't communicate. It's just a disaster.
Notre Dame quarterbacks stink, by the way.
Yeah,
they're all bad. Honestly, I don't know what it is.
Brady Quinn deserves better.
All right.
Their best pick was Paulson Adebo, the corner from Stanford. But in the second round, again, Pete Warner from Ohio State, not a fan. Ian Book is an undrafted free. Like he's a tryout guy. He's barely 6 foot, doesn't have the arm. I guess he brings like that intangible that Sean Payton thinks he's like so smart with. He's overrated, Sean Payton, in my opinion, too. I just think like the Saints are shot. That team is like, that window is slammed shut. They have no idea what they're doing at quarterback. Sorry to jump in over you here, Bree.
No, you're totally
wanted to go here too. I wanted to go New Orleans too, because I was looking at every pick they made and I was like, what is this team doing? Like, this is one of the best teams in the league. And like with that defense, you could have added a few more pieces. You could have grabbed somebody. You could have grabbed offensive line. You could have grabbed a receiver to go opposite Michael Thomas. Why didn't they take Elijah Moore in the first round? Like, none of their picks made any sense to me. So I think they had a worse draft than the Raiders. I probably should have switched it around. So I totally agree with you.
Yeah, it's really confusing to me that if they're dead set on going with this 2 quarterback system with Taysom and Jameis, like, okay, I guess, but I'm not really sold on that. I don't really know how they could possibly be. The only reason why my guess, if they were to move up, would to be take Mac, was because kind of the same reason why I think the Patriots did. It's more their style of offense. They're more of the pocket passer. Drew Brees, not the most mobile. I mean, he obviously wasn't. He's not Tom Brady, who Tom Brady can't move at all, can't run to save his life. But I just think that like type of quarterback fits their system better, which is why I kind of figured it would be Mac.
I thought maybe for a hot second, I thought maybe they were looking at going after Fields. I thought Justin Fields might have been someone that the Saints wanted, knowing that he would have fallen outside of the top 5, that they were thinking, let's just get into the top 10, because I still think it was most people were unsure as to whether Mac Jones was going to go 3 or not. So yeah. I really think that was a secret pick. I don't think anyone really knew, and they even reported on that outside of GM John Lynch and the head coach Shanahan. I believe that really they're the only 2 that knew, and so I think the fact that New Orleans wanted to trade up into the top 10 tells me that I don't know if it was Mac Jones, because obviously no one knew if he was going to go 3 or not. Was it Justin Fields, who it was basically known that Fields was going to fall into the later, portion of the top 10. So New Orleans, if they got to 9, they would have gotten Fields potentially, but who knows? You never know. It might have been could have been a wide receiver that they liked if they thought that maybe like a Waddle would have felt. We don't have any idea, but
right.
Yeah, it's very interesting though. New Orleans, there's something going on there. I think knowing that window's closing, and it might be shut, like Nick was saying, it could be that at this point they just may be scattered there and not really sure as to like what is next. So there's like a struggle going on. So they're just making picks. GM has a pick that the coach doesn't like. The coach has a pick the GM doesn't like. There might be a lot of stuff going on there.
Yeah. Things are bad when I have more confidence in the Patriots quarterback situation than I do any other team for that matter. And that includes the Saints. Like I'd rather the Patriots situation under center than whatever they're going to end up doing, because I know Jameis had that, the 30-30 season, and you're like, oh, well, he threw 30 touchdowns. Like, great. He threw 30 picks too. Like that's the whole point as to why people are kind of like, all right, he's kind of a letdown for where he was picked in his draft. And I know he got LASIK and his vision's supposedly so much better than what it used to be. So now the running joke is, all right, well, what can Jameis do now that he can see? Nobody really knows. I don't really have a lot of confidence in it. I'd be happy to be proven wrong because I don't want to see anybody fail, essentially. But I think I am more comfortable with Cam and Mac as my 1 and 2 than Jameis and Taysom. With Ian Book in the waiting. So
I do agree for the most part. I will say for some reason, and I know Splash gives me crap for this, and people on the uSTADIUM app do all the time, I like Taysom Hill. I just do. I don't know what it is. I like his style. I like his style for today's NFL is what I mean. He's not a prototypical pocket quarterback, but I like that he can run. I like that you can open the playbook. You could basically call whatever you want with Taysom Hill back there. Right. So, And I think he's accurate enough where he can put up. Last year, he put up, 3 out of the 4 games he played, he put up over 250 passing yards, I think. I mean, it's not like the guy can't play. So I'm not anti-Taysom Hill. Jameis has a short leash, though. He's going to probably come in and be the starter. If he has a few bad games, watch them pull the plug on him real quick.
Yep. Yeah. I'm kind of in the same boat with Taysom. I don't not like him. I just don't necessarily think he's a starting quarterback. And I have a feeling this year we'll find that out, because I do think Jameis is going to get the yank pretty quickly. If he starts this season, on a down note. But I don't know. I think for the situation that they're in, they could have had a much, much better draft, and they just absolutely just didn't. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think when you're in a situation where it's time to rebuild, potentially, I don't think they understood like where they're at. The Saints are trying to win now. Breeze isn't there. Are we rebuilding? Are we not? It's just weird. The coaching situation's weird. The GM, I mean, it's like they're in a mess right now, the Saints.
Yeah. So all right. So those are our teams, winners and losers. We also did individual picks that we think are, the winners of the draft. Not sure when Nick is coming back, if he's coming back, but we'll go. Frankie, you can start, and then if he jumps back in. So what is the one pick in this draft that you are just like over the moon with? You think it's the best fit for the team that the guy went to, stuff like that?
Yeah. So the best first round pick, and maybe the best pick of the entire, potentially of the entire draft, was the Los Angeles Chargers taking my guy, Rashawn Slater, with the 13th pick. I thought was a slam dunk. Slater is probably the best left tackle maybe in the last 2 drafts that we've seen. What's up, Splash Daddy? What's going on, brother?
How's it
He's
going?
going to join us since Nick is gone.
Yeah, of course. Splash always wants to come on this show. Even if Nick's here, he tries to sneak in. I have to kick his request off. But I love Rashawn Slater at 13. The Chargers know exactly, I think, what they're doing with Justin Herbert. They also went out and got Corey Linsley. They got Matt Filer, who's actually an underrated pickup this offseason. So revamping that offensive line, protecting Justin Herbert. So Rashawn Slater going 13th. I think he's a stud too. If you want to see some clips of Rashawn Slater, look up Rashawn Slater versus Chase Young 2 years ago. Chase Young destroyed every offensive tackle he saw that year besides Rashawn Slater. He is a prototypical left tackle, even more so than Penei Sewell. You guys all know I'm a Penei Sewell fanboy, but could play right tackle. Penei could play left. He's not necessarily a prototypical left tackle. Rashawn Slater is a brick wall. He is a left tackle, and you can't move that guy. So he'll be there for a while.
All right. So that's your winner. What's the worst pick?
Splash. Who do you think I'm going to say is the worst pick? I hate hating on this guy. I've been hating on this guy for freaking a month and a half. Feel bad for the guy.
I mean, I don't think you would say Bateman. Are you going to say like a quarterback?
No, Splash. I've been hating. Come on, little small wide receivers.
Jalen Waddle.
Oh, yeah. Waddle makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't understand. Jalen Waddle's going to be the pick like Tavon Austin was, like Henry Ruggs was, like John Ross was. And we're going to look back and we're going to say this pick makes no sense. And I say this for one reason, really, for one reason and one reason only. Jalen Waddle needs a really good quarterback. He's a small receiver that needs space, that needs room, that when he's getting out of his break, a quarterback's going to hit him perfectly in the breadbasket so he can get yak. The Dolphins don't even know who their quarterback is. They might have a situation there with Jacoby Brissett, you don't know what's going to happen in Miami with the quarterback situation. Rebuild, get an offensive lineman, get someone on defense, get a corner. I don't know. I just don't understand why you would get like a utility rather than a need at 5. It just seemed like they didn't need that player. And it just was not, to me, it just was not a good pick at all. Honestly. at 6, excuse me. It's just what just wasn't a need pick. It was a utility. He's a nice pick at 6. I mean, but Jamar Chase goes before you at 5. Don't go and get like the next wide receiver available. It's like in fantasy drafts when someone gets a quarterback, the next guy just gets a quarterback because he's worried that like they're all gonna like drop or something. It's like it's a rushed pick. Waddle should not have gone 6th. He should have gone maybe between 12 and 15 to a team that has a decent quarterback situation. I think Miami was and look at his reaction when he got drafted. I mean, he straight up just got up and he didn't want anything to do with that pick. And then a few weeks before, he was on NFL Network saying how Mac Jones is better than Tua. So I don't know. That's a bad situation for me.
Yeah, I'm not totally against that. I definitely don't hate Jalen Waddle as much as you do. I don't like the fact that he went to Miami because I feel like Miami's kind of doing a good job at getting weapons around the quarterback, despite not really knowing what the hell's going on at the quarterback position. But part of me with this whole, Mac over Tua thing, I see what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm wondering if they just said that to kind of boost Mac's draft stock with saying these things on air and saying these things on radio and wherever the hell they were saying it. It could be 100% true. I mean, I don't know, but just given the situation, part of me thinks like that's the reason why these guys went and said, oh, like I would definitely take Mac over any other of the quarterbacks I played with because they played with Tua, they played with Hurts. But all right, so I'm going to get into my favorite pick. Another AFC, I wouldn't necessarily call them a rival, but a team that I'm not really a big fan of. But I'm a big fan of this guy, Kwity Paye. I love the fact that he is in Indy. Him and Darius Leonard, I think, are going to be home wreckers. On top of the fact that his story is incredible. He's actually from Warwick, Rhode Island, not too far from where I currently live. His reaction to getting drafted and saying his mom's never going to have to work again. She's retired, things like that. Like just the feel good stuff. It's all mushy and whatever, but I think that's great. On the field, I think he's like a wrecking ball, and I think he's going to do a lot of good things for that Colts defense. So I'm excited to watch that. I'm not excited for whenever the Patriots have to play that, but that will come when it comes. And then my worst pick, it's not an indictment on the guy himself. It's the situation. Eric Stokes and the Green Bay Packers. This is one of those things where it's how like tone deaf can you be about the situation you're in, where your star quarterback, your franchise quarterback, the 1B in terms of greatest of all time, is openly admitting how unhappy he is with the organization, how he doesn't want to return. He's out here, and we'll talk about this later because it's a whole situation that we're going to get into. Like Aaron Rodgers is just running his mouth it's at the point of no return at this point. But a week ago, we didn't know a lot of this stuff that he had said or that had transpired. And they go and they use their first round pick on a corner. How are you going to sit there and do that and then tell your franchise quarterback, your Super Bowl winning quarterback, that you're not trading him, you want him to be a Packer for life and things like that? How are you not going to give him things that will help him and kind of an incentive to stay? It just doesn't make sense to me. And like I said, it's not an indictment on the player himself. Stokes could be the greatest corner to come out of this draft if he really wanted to. And I would still say it's an awful pick based on the situation itself. Then, like I said, we'll get into this whole Rodgers thing because it's an absolute disaster. But it just...
Yeah, the Packers have been making shoddy picks for the last, I would say, 5 years. I don't remember a really good pick that they've had in the early rounds, at least. So they're a mess there. I mean, we'll get into it right now. I mean, as everyone knows, I mean, with Aaron Rodgers at this point, it seems like, and I know Bree agrees with this. We spoke about it before the show and Splash. Aaron Rodgers is done in Green Bay. So,
Yeah.
I mean, there's a better chance that he leaves and he stays. I'd be more surprised if next year comes and 2021 week 1 and Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers. So it's a situation right now where he's not going to want to make amends with the team. It's just done. Everything's out there. And another point on this that's really interesting is, remember this, when Adam Schefter breaks something like this early, it's typically planted by the agent or some rep on the team, and it's an understanding that we want this out there so we don't destroy the Packers fan base that is legion to Aaron Rodgers. Let's throw out something big, but not an explosion necessarily. We'll throw it out in one piece. We'll have Schefter do it. Because listen, Adam Schefter's not going to come out and just make up a story. So if he's saying something, it's legit. Schefter has not many enemies in team circles. So when Adam Schefter says something like this and throws you a bone or two about a story that's looming, it's usually means that there's a lot of gas there, and the explosion's coming, but he'll just give you a little bit before things fall into gear. And I actually got that from the Play Like a Jet podcast. They had one of the reps from the teams who works in the scouting department saying that how do leaks work? Leaks work like this. A team knows that something's happening. They'll literally go and leak it to Adam Schefter, who they know is so reputable and doesn't word things in a negative way so that the fans don't turn on the player. And the agents actually want that. So Aaron's agent doesn't want bad blood. So he's going to, leak this out to Schefter. So this situation's bad. And I honestly think it's over for him in Green Bay.
Yeah. Like I said, it's at the point of no return. And I am known to hate Aaron Rodgers, always have. And a lot of things that he's doing in this situation kind of back that up. I think he's handling this. I understand why he's doing what he's doing, because he really is so unhappy. But you're upset because they took Jordan Love. Jordan Love's not going to start in this league for probably another 2 to 3 years. He's what, 37? Rodgers is what, 37? He's not going to have the same longevity as Tom Brady, no matter how much Packers fans want to tell me he is, or Rodgers wants people to believe that he is. He's just not. There's not going to be somebody like Brady probably ever. And that's not even to, gas Brady up. That's just, he's a once in a generation, once in a lifetime player in professional sports. The thing that Rodgers is doing that really rubs me the wrong way is he's acting like a middle school, high school girl who's leaking all of this drama. He's calling his GM Jerry Krause. And I know the audience of uSTADIUM, especially that watches the show, some of the kids are younger. And if you didn't watch The Last Dance, Jerry Krause was the GM for the Chicago Bulls, who Mike didn't get along with. I'm not going to give it away because it's a great documentary. It's a great series, and I really, really hope you watch it if you haven't. But the star player hated the GM, and Krause is the comp in this situation. For Aaron Rodgers to kind of sit there and compare his situation and himself to Michael Jordan and Jerry Krause, like, shut your mouth. Shut up. You haven't won a Super Bowl in a decade.
Michael Jordan hasn't won a Super Bowl in a decade either.
No, Michael Jordan retired however many years ago. The different situations, Frank. Shut up. Let me make my point. You can't sit here and play the diva, the scorned actress who never got her way and everybody's out to get them and they want to replace me. They want to replace me. Great. Like, you have all these personal accolades. That's awesome. Good for you. When's the last time you did something in the postseason? Years ago. When's the last time you won anything meaningful? Years ago. That wasn't a personal award. MVP is great. Good for you. What have you done for me lately when it comes to the team? So, and him saying to free agents, like, oh, you sure you want to sign here? I'm not going to be here. Like, bro, shut up. This whole situation, like, it's gross to me. So if I'm the Packers at this point, I'm kind of like, all right, you want out? Like, we're going to get you out. We're going to make this, because at this, like, it's a headache for us now too. So which leads to my following question. If you were the Packers, what would you want in return for a trade? Because they're not going to cut him. They're going to try to find a trade. What would you want in return? What would you expect in return?
Splash, go in there, bud. You've been on the stream. I hear all your clicking, by the way, so I know you're Mr. Clicks over there. What are you clicking there? What's in that tab? Come on.
I mean, I had this thing pulled up.
Oh my God! All right.
Anyway,
Bleacher Report, our number one enemy, Splash. Come on. Our public enemy number one.
First of all, I said it on the Lambeau Leaper show yesterday. I don't think Rodgers goes anywhere. The Packers are not going to trade Rodgers. But if Roger Goodell says you have to trade Rodgers, or else like we're going to nuke Lambeau Field, you're going to get at least 3 first-round picks probably, and like say a quarterback of the future. So San Francisco would trade Lance. The Jets would trade Wilson. The Dolphins would trade Tua. The Bengals would trade Burrow. The Browns would trade Baker. The Ravens would trade Lamar. Whatever. That has to be. You get a quarterback, a guaranteed quarterback. You're not gonna. Oh, I hope the Rams suck and they're gonna have a top 10 pick to try. No, you get a quarterback, a guaranteed quarterback, and probably every first-round pick you're legally allowed to trade. I know the Dolphins can trade like 4 because you can trade the next 3 years, and they have another first-round pick next year, if I remember correctly, from the San Francisco trade. So you're talking 3-4 first-round picks and a quarterback. 1, I don't think the Packers would take that anyways. 2, you're having to trade the farm.
No one's expecting 4 first-round picks. No one's going to trade 4. It's going to be, I'm telling you, even though I've been basically wrong about a lot of my trades lately, I think I'm going to be right about this one. It'll be probably 2 first-round picks, take on his cap for a year, give him a new deal, and just walk away with it. I don't know what team is. I mean, every team's in the market in some way, because Aaron Rodgers is arguably the best quarterback in football, at least the best NFC quarterback. If you put Mahomes 1, he's 2, or however you want to split it. Your teams are going to inquire. The Washington football team will inquire. There was reports about two other teams this week inquired about Rodgers, and that's been known. And there's a looming what's it called when they what's it called when you're trying to get a quarterback and you're talking to him behind the scenes? It's
like
offer negotiation.
No, not an offer negotiation. It's when I can't think of the word, but their charges being set to the NFL that the Packers tampering. Jesus, I hate that word. Something else. Yeah, tampering charges are maybe being filed against against the Packers, or against teams that were contacting the Packers now, and that's a bad. I mean, that's what's going on. Teams are going to go out of their way to try to bring in Aaron Rodgers, so they're going to get something for him, but it's not going to be this ginormous trade because he's older and Rodgers is. Rodgers has a big salary cap hit, like someone had mentioned earlier in the chat. By the way, shout outs to people in the chat. We got Austin Wright. We have Salman Jet 718. Javier Rodriguez is in the chat. Shout outs. You guys are the real MVPs right now. We have Jake Scanlon. I cannot talk today, guys. We have Zachary Burner. Yeah, I had too much coffee. My brain is not working.
So, okay. So let me kind of add a part 2 to my question. So and Splash doesn't think a trade is going to happen. Frankie, do you think one's going to happen?
Yeah, I think so.
No? Okay, yes. Okay, so Splash, if he doesn't get traded, do you think he's going to hold out for a year? Do you think he'll sit for this year to kind of get his way and make a point?
All right. So I said on the show yesterday, I think there's a 95% chance he plays week 1 against probably the Bears or whatever team. I guess the schedule comes out next week, so we'll know.
Yep.
95% chance he plays week 1, 5% chance he just up and retires. And I think Rodgers knows deep down that his legacy is a little bit more important than, they drafted a guy that I didn't like, or they cut Jake Kumaro. I just think this is leverage for him. Like Alex said on the show yesterday, this is leverage. He has leverage in the way he plays, winning the MVP, throwing 48 touchdowns, yada, yada, yada. And he has leverage in what he can say here. Rodgers will be on the Packers in some capacity this season, whether that's as a contract because he retired, like a just totally dead contract, or actually the starting quarterback and going to be MVP front runner again with Green Bay. So I would say 95% chance he plays week 1 with Green Bay, 5% chance he retires. So
okay,
let's put a bet on it, Splash. Bet right now.
Interesting.
All right, let's hear it.
Bree, me and Splash are making a bet whether Rodgers starts the year with the Packers. What should this bet be based on?
How about winner or loser buys the winner a new jersey?
Let's do. All right, I'm down with that, and I'm also down with doing something on the show. The loser has to do something on the show. Let's say
Splash has to cut his hair.
Oh my lord!
All right, that's a good one.
No. That we've
Deal.
already that.
All right, what do I have to do? Splash.
One of my teams has to win the title to do that.
Oh, okay.
Come on, Splash. Loser gets a haircut. Somebody said, but Splash doesn't want to do that.
I mean,
I've
said that for other things. Like if the Ravens win the Super Bowl, Braves win the World Series, Red Wings win the Cup.
Okay, well, the Red Wings winning the Cup is not going to happen.
I'll be growing this beard out for a while.
It might be to the floor at that point.
Yeah, I think so too.
All right, let's. This is tough. Let's kind of.
Bree has to wear Zach Wilson.
Bree has to wear a Zach Wilson jersey.
No, this guy. First of all, this guy called me a delusional Pats fan, and now he wants to come in and make jokes. Ha ha. No.
Oh.
Oh boy.
And you
come
would
on
never
the show, man.
Dead. You would never catch me dead in that color green. Never. Green's not a great color for me to begin with, but the Jets green, no shot. How about we kind of let's sit on this for a week, and when we come back next week, we can come to terms for this bet, and we can. At that way, it's not everybody's put on the spot, and we get something that we all can agree on.
Yeah, let's get the comments popping.
Splash, you're losing this bet. I'm like 99.6% certain. There's no way Rodgers comes back.
Also, so my last
you win the bet
point,
if he's traded, and I win the bet if he's not traded.
No, so the bet is
he has to be traded. What are they going to cut him, or that he's not going to retire?
If he's the Packers starter week 1.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. And if he retires, then we both lose.
Then it's a wash. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a wash.
Okay.
There we go.
Sounds good.
Look at Bree with the betting terms down. Let's go, Bree.
Listen, I got. So my last.
He's got
point
offers
on this,
in the inbox.
my last point on this is Aaron Rodgers is a grudge holder, and this kind of seems like one of those situations where it's going to continue unless he gets his way. I'm not sure who knows much about his family situation, but he does not speak to his parents, his brother, who is a celebrity as well because of The Bachelor and everything, or The Bachelorette. When California had all those crazy big wildfires, he supposedly did not even reach out to his parents to make sure they were okay, let alone offer to help.
Supposedly he texted his brother that he was hoping he'd end up in one of the wildfires. That's what I heard also. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah. I'm just kidding. That's not true. I just made that
but it wouldn't surprise me because he has such a strained relationship with his family to the point where that might not be off the table. But with that being said, he holds grudges. I don't know what the hell happened with his family to the point where they don't speak at this level. Where he doesn't even check if they're okay when there's historic wildfires in their backyard. I couldn't imagine. But if he'll go that far with his family, you're going to tell me he's not going to do the same for his employer. I think it's a little different. I think it's either he's going to get what he wants or he's going to retire and he's going to host Jeopardy. because I also think that's on the table for him too. I think he really enjoyed it that much, and the ratings for when he was on there skyrocketed. I think they enjoyed having him as much as he enjoyed being there. I don't think that's off the table. I think that is definitely in the back of his mind where, shit, if the Packers don't let me do what I want to do, I can always just go to TV. So
yeah, the timing is so weird because he just won MVP and the Packers are in a position where next year they're one of the top 5 teams in football. So the Packers can easily win a Super Bowl in the next few years if Rodgers is playing like this. So to think that he's going to walk away from football now or move from Green Bay, it's wild, but that's where we're at. This is a big story. This is one of the biggest stories we've seen in the NFL for a while. And it's interesting how we started the offseason with Deshaun Watson wanting to leave, murmurs about Russell Wilson wanting to leave. Now it's Aaron Rodgers, the MVP, who wants to leave. So getting more into that, we'll talk about it more next week. But owners, we have a source at uSTADIUM. I actually broke this on the app and Instagram. There are currently owners that are looking to fix this problem. So owners have contacted Roger Goodell, and they want to prevent this from happening in the future. They don't want a situation where, like the NBA, if a player is not happy with their current situation, they can just force their way out, like James Harden did, like LeBron's done, like Kyrie did. The NFL wants to the ownership wants to put a stop to that. The last thing you want is someone like Patrick Mahomes to not want to stay in Kansas City for whatever reason and have the leverage to be able to move on from their team. So I don't know how you guys feel about this. We can talk about it more next week, but I think it's super interesting. What kind of measures can Roger Goodell put in place? Because remember, Roger Goodell works for the owners. So whatever they basically want, he's going to do. How can you prevent this from happening? How do you stop a player from getting up and going to practice and playing on Sunday? So this is a very interesting situation, and sports are changing. The NBA really set a precedent that you see other sports doing now, where players are just forcing their way out. And just this offseason, Watson, Wilson, Rodgers, I mean, that's not going to change year after year. You'll see more power in the hands of players and less in the hands of owners.
Yeah, that's definitely a topic that we can touch on next week just because we're running out of time, and that could potentially take up an entire show.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, but Splash, you said there's something in the app that you wanted to bring up?
Yeah. Shout out to Alec. He's a OG uSTADIUM user. Let me bring down the banner for a second.
Thank you. This is my point. This is my point.
Wow.
This is one of the best posts I've ever, I've been on the app for about 5 years now, or 6 years now. This is one of the best posts I've ever seen. And Alec, this is grade A. I commented this is top tier. This is what the issue is with Green Bay, that Rodgers is just different. Not only is he different in terms of being up an MVP caliber quarterback, personality wise, he's one of the I don't want to say weird in a bad way, but he's just different from how other quarterbacks and how other players might interact with the media, might interact with GM, head coach. It's just a little different from what the rest of the league is doing, and Green Bay is in a sticky situation. I still don't think anything happens at the end of the day, but this is not a situation the Packers want to be in. This is not a situation I would imagine Rodgers wants to be in, and I think they will work something out by the end of the offseason.
Yeah, that's just the one night Alec isn't in the comments. I'm going to agree with him and give him a shout out. That is my entire point right there. You're not going to win an argument and anything with somebody who holds grudges better than they hold anything else. So we'll see. I mean, I don't necessarily think that this is going to be resolved anytime soon. I'm sure next week there will be more developments that we'll have to talk about. But I will say I have a friend who is a beat writer for the Packers. He works for The Athletic. His name is Matt Schneidman. If you guys want to read his stuff, he's wicked good at what he does. He says that Rodgers is the same person in the media on the field as he is in real life. And he's around him all the time because that's what he does for work. He works for the team. He covers the team. So he would know better than most.
What did he say?
He just says that like he's just the same kind of guy that you see in like in press conferences and stuff. Like that's just how he is.
Yeah.
So, and this is me talking now. He's very smug and like thinks he's smarter than everybody. This is me. These are my words because I don't like him and I don't want to get my friend in trouble. But it's something that it's crazy. This whole offseason has been nuts. And it's interesting how when the Deshaun Watson stuff has kind of quieted down a little bit, that's not over by any means. But you haven't really heard much about it, how another prominent quarterback is in the news again because he wants out of his current situation. So we'll see. Probably towards the end of the summer is when I think a lot of these things are going to be resolved, when camp is kind of winding down and a lot of contracts become guaranteed and they need to figure out their week 1 starter situation and everything like that. But we'll have a whole summer to talk about it, which is exciting. And we also have baseball and basketball and NHL playoffs to talk about in the coming weeks. Nick and Frankie aren't excited about that. I'm excited for it. Slash is excited for it, which is all that matters. So we will get into that as football is kind of like in a lull right now. This is kind of the dead time. There'll still be news. We'll still have things to talk about, but not as much as everything else. So we're going to try our best to kind of bring in fans from the other sports in this stream and get talking. So we're done here. So if you guys have any questions you want us to get to in the comments before we sign off, go ahead and do that. Splash, if there are any like in-app questions that you found, shoot them up here. But if you guys want us to answer anything, drop them in the comments. And we will pull probably like 2 or 3 and then we'll get out of here.
Yeah, we can plug the power rankings.
Oh, we can do that. I don't necessarily agree with number 1, but
the Chiefs are number 1. They're the number 1 team. We're going to launch our power rankings next week on the app. We can get Splash our round 1. Did we get our round 1 picks that the UFAM picked? Because we have to launch that on the show. We didn't get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in a second. But next week we're gonna launch our power rankings. That'll come with a contest. Tune into the show next week. We'll launch our power rankings. I'll have I think a jersey giveaway. We're not doing any more PS5, Xbox giveaways. Those are done. So if you didn't get one, I'm very sorry. I don't know. Yeah, I had to go on eBay and get one for like $890 or something. But we'll do that next week. We'll have our power rankings. The UFAM today, we had a vote. I respect who they voted for. I'm a big fan of Justin Fields. So Justin Fields won the UFAM vote for best round 1 pick. Everyone that participated in that, we might give away some points or something. But tune in next week. Bree, sign us off, and we'll get it flowing again next week.
All right, we are out of here. We had a lot to talk about. Nick kind of dipped on us early. I think he's playing softball or some shit like that. Next week, right back, same time, same place. Lots to talk about. Hopefully, more Aaron Rodgers news. Maybe I'll explain why I think he's even more of a jerk, because I can only imagine the things that he's going to say between now and then. And I will go in and explain why the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be the number 1 team on everybody's power rankings going into this season. So with that being said, we are out of here. We'll see you guys next Thursday, 6 p.m. See you later.
Later.